to the Spheres of Spirit with Nancy Myers, aka the Lady of the Light. Nancy will discuss the everyday magic and wisdom of spirit which surrounds each of us, waiting to be discovered. She will share some of her remarkable orb photos, proving that our angels, guides, loved ones in spirit, and even pets surround us and guide us in our physical world. During this episode, Nancy will discuss one of the many spheres or aspects of spirit available to us based on her orb photography. She will also share a special channeled message from her guide, Leonini, and do an oracle card reading to help guide you along your personal spiritual adventure. And now, here is your host, orb photographer, author, medium, and speaker, Nancy Myers.
Hi, welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us. I am Nancy Myers, and today I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled, to have my special guest, Rebecca Rosen. Welcome, Rebecca.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing to share your wisdom, experience, and teachings with us today. I'm really excited to let my audience hear what you have to offer. So if I can tell my audience just a little bit about you. Rebecca is an internationally acclaimed best-selling author, spiritual medium, and speaker. She has made it her mission to open the line of communication between the spirit world and our day-to-day world. Her journey as a medium started with personal readings for her family and friends, which were uncannily accurate. Now, over 20 years later, her passion lies in transforming people's lives by helping them connect to their own deceased loved ones, angels, spirits, and guides through small group readings, larger audience events, and a variety of spiritual growth products and resources. Wow. So, Rebecca, I always tell my audience a little bit how I know my guests and my experience. So if I can take just a minute. I read Rebecca's first book, Spirited, back in 2011. And I've always highly recommended it. I still do. And that was about a year after my son, Robbie, crossed. For those just tuning in, I do this work because my son asked me to. So that's what started me on my spiritual path. After I read Rebecca's book, I went, I need to get a reading from this woman. She is just simply amazing. And I did. And it literally erased any doubt that I had that I should be doing this work. So also, over the years, Rebecca and I have worked together. Rebecca does large audience reading, and when she's in town here by me, she was very generous and had me take pictures as she was reading the audience. And I would capture orbs many times with the loved one that Rebecca was actually connecting with. It was quite amazing. But I just wanted to show, I'm not going to show those people because I don't have their permission, but I'm going to just show you two pictures that I took of Rebecca at two different events while she was on stage. So if I could get that first slide up, Chris. And this was one of the first events. And as you can see, the spirit orbs were present. But when you compare the size of that top orb, it was huge. And here's the second orb. And this was at another event. And this was, again, a very large orb. So, and I can see a face in there. But anyway, so as you can see, audience, thank you, Chris. Rebecca has command of the spirit world, and they respond.
Or they have command of me.
Exactly. So on my show, because I deal with orbs, I talk about frequency and color, and I talk about frequency a lot. But you say, Rebecca, that we connect to spirit through frequency, but you also add the caveat of the right frequency. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, of course. So it goes to the point that everything is energy and it's vibrating at different speeds or frequencies. And you can tune in to whatever frequency you choose to tune into. And there's a scale. So from on one end, we have fear, and on the other end, we have love. So we could call that shadow and light. And so when I do this work, I choose to only work with the light. Okay. I work in the frequencies of love. And so I set the intention, and spirit vibrates at these higher frequencies, right? In this earth world, we have the contrast and we have the heavy, gravity. And so there are lower vibrational frequencies, and you have to raise your vibration in order to be able to match that higher frequency or consciousness of spirit. And so I make it a point to really be intentional about what frequency I'm going to choose, what I want to, and choose to tune into, because I don't work with dark energy or entities. And you absolutely can. In my earlier days, I played around with the Ouija board, and it was a party trick. And I did it, irresponsibly. And I called in darker, lower entity energy. And for a week, I was in college, and my roommates and I were having all sorts of weird accidents and bad moods. And I realized through channeling my guardian angel, I was told, look, you brought this in.
Oh, wow.
You didn't, declare only working in the light and do my protection prayers. So it's really essential that your intention matters, because energy follows intention, right?
Ah, okay.
So when you choose to tune into this, you say a prayer that you are in agreement with the light and only the light, or you can call it source. And so that's how I do this.
Okay. Before I ask my next question, I forgot to tell the audience, if you have a question that you would like to ask, we'll try to get to them. No readings, please. Don't ask for any individual readings. But if we're talking about something and you have a question, just type it up and I'll try to get to that. So, Rebecca, let me ask you this, because when I first started, people would say, well, you need to raise your vibration. Well, how do I do that? I don't have a dial on my head.
Right.
How do we do that?
It sounds so easy, right?
Yeah.
So how we do it, just the really simple answer is do things that light you up. Do things that bring you joy, because joy and peace and love, these are the highest vibrations on the scale of consciousness. Okay. So my guides have always said, figure out the hobbies you love to do. Or some people love to go walking in nature. Nature is a real easy way to raise your vibe. Get out in nature, because it's naturally all the negative ions in the high vibrational frequencies. So you have to ask yourself what works for you, and then go do that.
Okay. Does it also have to do with what we consume or
Absolutely.
where we live, or okay?
Yes, it's a combination. It's a mind, body, spirit practice. I've done webinars on just this alone. The obvious way to raise your vibration is meditation. You're clearing out the resistance. You're allowing your energy to naturally calibrate to a higher level where there's allowance and flow and grace. And where you live, like everything has energy. Dr. David Hawkins, he wrote this book called Power versus Force. And I have a new book coming out in the spring, and I reference him and his scale of consciousness, because everything's energy. And he did all these studies where he walks into Walmart versus Neiman Marcus. Okay. These are two very different energy places that attract like energy. Okay. And obviously Walmart vibrated very low, a lot of scarcity, a lot of fear, a lot of greed, right? So everything is energy. And that's why certain homes you walk into, if you're house shopping, don't feel good. And others feel amazing, because there's a lot of love and light that's been brought in versus, fear. So yeah.
So it's palpable. You can literally feel it.
Absolutely. You mentioned diet, what you put in your system. So when you eat clean, and again, it's going to be different for everybody. When I was studying, I had a teacher said, you have to be vegan. So I became vegan, and I became anemic.
Oh, dear.
It didn't work. It didn't work for me. Yeah. And so I'd listen to my body. My body, I'm a blood type O. I need red meat, but clean red meat, right? And not all the time. And so you have to figure out what feeds your cells, what raises your vibe. The obvious things that lower your vibration are alcohol and certain drugs and, anything
Chemicals.
that's, artificially processed
Mm-hmm.
chemicals, all of that absolutely makes us feel weak and almost dead. Dead foods will make you feel that way.
Ah, okay. So when you raise your vibration to meet the spirits at the higher vibration of love, do all spirits, I'm only asking this because you said you were attracting some lower energy spirits. I know the spirits you work with are at the vibration of love, so we need to raise. So they're naturally, in the spirit world vibrating faster. So who are these lower energy entities that
Yeah.
sometimes you
So,
can't you or did in the beginning?
sure. So these energies have disconnected from source. Okay.
Ah,
So when I do my work, I work in the astral plane and I don't work with ghosts or any energy that hasn't fully crossed over.
mm-hmm,
I work with souls who have peacefully transitioned, are in the astral plane or higher heavens, and they're at peace, but it's the living that's struggling, right? Some mediums, their purpose and work on this planet is to work with the ghosts, the trapped souls, or the darker entities. And you see exorcisms. And, so those energies are lost souls. They haven't connected back into source. Okay.
okay.
And so they are fragmented and a lot of times operating out of fear and making choices in the frequency of shadow, just like in life.
Mm-hmm,
You see people walking around who are operating this way. So, when we connect to anyone, whether incarnated or disincarnated in the spirit world, we're connecting on frequencies or vibration.
mm-hmm,
And this is right. And like attracts like. This is where the law of attraction comes in. And so to connect to your loved ones who have died, all you have to do is line up your energies in the frequency of love and light, because that's where they are. Unless it's a situation where they haven't crossed over and they are in a darker place. And that's where you pray for them and you call in the angels to take over and help escort them back to awakening and plugging back into source energy.
Yeah, because I've read and I hope people understand that our angels and God and source or what, they never give up on us, right?
They
They
never give up
never
on
give
you.
up. So even if, you're having that trouble or separated, your soul is separated from source, they still are there trying to help, which I find very comforting.
Absolutely. We're in Earth school. We are not perfect. We aren't supposed to be perfect. We're perfectly imperfect. The point is not to keep
Perfectly imperfect.
repeating perfectly imperfect. I mean, the point is to not keep repeating the same mistakes. Learn from that and
Mhm.
do better. We're going to make new mistakes. And there's no judgment from the other side, right? But some of these souls keep choosing darkness and perpetuating fear. And so they become dark entities and they prey on other people. And, you better believe it. It's like the Ouija board. When I was this vulnerable, 20-year-old with this game unintentionally, they were preying on us. And they
Oh.
saw their opportunity to jump in and attach on, and they did. And so you always have the power to cut that cord and call your energy back and protect
Mhm.
yourself. So don't be afraid of it. Awareness is the key.
Right, right. I'm sure you have a morning prayer that you say, and one of mine, as soon as I wake up, is, "Dear angels and guides, please surround me with your love, light, and wisdom
Mhm.
today, and protection." Because like you, when we do this work, with me taking orb photography, I kind of open myself up, but I say something like, "I pray that this work be done for the highest good from the highest good."
Love that.
Yeah, and so you said, okay, so we can raise our frequency
Yes.
and get in touch with our own loved ones ourself.
A
And
100% yes.
yes. And when my son first crossed, that was my whole goal. That was okay. Because I believed he was there, but I just couldn't talk.
Mhm.
And so that's what started me. But the way that you do that sometimes, or that they respond, is through what is called clairs.
Right.
Well, I just got some feedback. I'm sorry about that. So can you talk about the clairs? What are they and how do they assist us?
Sure. The clairs are our intuitive senses. Just like we have 5 physical senses, we have clair senses, and they correspond to those physical senses. So clairvoyance, I'm sure most of your audience has heard that term. It's clear seeing. Okay, so it's anything but clear. Let's be honest. Okay, it can get clear, but you have to. It's a muscle, and you have to work it and develop it, and use your tools to keep it clear, to get a clear download psychically. So it's telepathic energy. And the clairvoyance is your third eye. It's located in the center of the forehead. And that is how we perceive and see. So whether you're seeing in your mind's eye or you're seeing externally, the orbs, the spirits, the sparkles, the angels, that's clairvoyance. Clairaudience is clear hearing. So this is all about hearing intuitive messages or guidance downloaded in our mind's voice. Okay. Some people, this has happened to me. Truly, I can count on one hand over the 25 years of doing this, of hearing it externally. I've heard voices like audible, and that happens. Some people happens all the time. For me, it's internal mostly, but that is it's energy being projected into your consciousness, and it's coming through words or sounds or clips and phrases. Okay, and then you have clairsentience, and that's clear feeling. So this is where you get out of the blue feelings over, emotions overcome you, or you get the chills. You can feel something is off, right? That's how you tune into that. And then claircognizance, this is clear knowing. So this is where spirit drops blocks of thought or consciousness into your consciousness. So it's those aha moments or epiphanies. Okay, or realizations where you walk into a room and you just know something happened in that room moments ago, or you meet somebody and you're like, I don't trust them, or I love this person. I totally trust them. So it can go any way, but that is clear knowing or claircognizance, and it's knowing without having any rational explanation, right? It's that just knowing.
Yeah,
So
you ask yourself, how did I know that? Yeah.
Yeah, you just know, and you can't explain it. There's a few others, but those are the 4 main ones, people, if they're interested. And in my book, Spirited, I break it down. I go into it. So if you're really wanting to do a deep dive and figure out what clairs are strongest for you, because we all have 1 or 2 that are dominant.
That was my next question. Okay.
You can develop all of them. So in the beginning, I was very clairaudient, and I did a lot of automatic writing, and then that was my crutch. And then I stopped, and then I started developing clairvoyance. And now I'm fluent in all of them because I've been doing it for so long, but anybody can do it. So what I like to tell people is, hey, in life, are you visual? Are you auditory? And we usually have one that's dominant. You'll gravitate to the one that lines up with that physical sense. Okay. So look at your strengths in your physical, senses, and then it will probably correlate.
Yeah. And what I like is what you said too, because sometimes people think clairs, it's just kind of imaginary, if you will, but it can cross over into the physical. In other words, I know people who can, yes, they're clairvoyant, but yes, they also have seen, spirits standing there physically with their eyes, or, they'll hear auditory in their head, but then, like you said, and that happened to me once. I heard this amazing voice talk to me. It just like you, it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it, it's different. And the clairsentient, to me, that's like the angel bumps, or the goosebumps. And if spirit's around me, I don't know if you have this, but you kind of sense it somewhere on your body. For me, it's like I'm walking through cobwebs. And I get it right here. But so it can be both, right? The clairs can be physical or that kind of ethereal world.
Exactly. So there's mental mediumship and physical mediumship. And so internally it's mental and externally it's physical.
Okay. Thank you. And we all have these, right? Everybody.
Every single person. What I like to say is, just like we're all born and we can sing, it doesn't mean we're all born to sing. It doesn't mean we're all good. Some of us have to take lessons. Some of us forget it. It's never going to happen. And some become rock stars.
Right.
But we all have the opportunity if we choose to acknowledge it and then work with it.
Well, I like what you said. It's a muscle. You have to, but it's also like it's a talent that's been asleep, so you have to awaken it.
Exactly.
First, and then work with it and sharpen it and hone it and expand it.
Yeah.
You mentioned something, automatic writing. I don't know if all my listeners know that. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Sure. Yes. So when I was 19 years, I've always journaled. That was just I'm a writer, and it comes naturally. And I've always journaled my feelings and my thoughts. And when I was in college, I was going through a depression, and I used my journal as therapy. And one day I was just dumping my feelings on paper. I was at a bookstore and I was writing, and all of a sudden this energy started dragging. I could hear the words coming in my head real fast. I started dragging my hand across the page for an hour.
Whoa.
Pages and pages, saying it was my dead grandma. It was my angel. Thought I was going crazy because I was 19. I never even talked about paranormal anything. She's saying, look, you're going through a depression. I've heard your prayers for help. I am here to help you, because my grandma took her life when I was 10. My dad had attempted suicide. I was not mentally ill, but I was depressed. It was situational. And long story short, she gave me this program, which became the book Spirited, that first book. It's a self-help book for anyone struggling. And automatic writing is a tool, and it's an opportunity where when you sit down at your computer or you get a pen and paper, you say a prayer always to the highest light, and you then open yourself up to your higher self. We all have a higher self. And your team in spirit, angels, guides, departed loved ones. And it's a doorway where they can then impress your mind with thoughts, your body with feelings, and start downloading messages. And then you're, transcribing it, and it's not you, it's coming through you. So that's automatic writing. And again, it can happen to anybody. It happened to me, and they knew my strength was writing, so they came that way.
Wow.
First.
And I've heard when you do automatic writing like that and you read it, you go, I didn't write that,
Oh my gosh. Mine was all sing-songy poetic, like not my words. You will know the difference.
Yeah. And I love that you said you can type, on the computer or write. I don't like to write, but I'll type. And I tell people, when I was writing my first book, which my son urged me to do, I would sit down and then I'd get in a zone and start typing for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then I'd stop and I go, what did I just write?
Yeah.
And I read it and I went, okay, that's you, Robbie. That didn't come from me.
Exactly.
So that's kind of when Now, also, I've heard, Rebecca, some people will draw images. Have you?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Some people are artists, and they start drawing the faces of departed loved ones, or they draw angels. And there's a lot of mediums that offer that, for sure.
Wow. Okay. So when you say, we need to work with our clairs and make them stronger. Now, we talked about how we would raise our vibration by, getting more joy and love. And how would you make your clairs stronger?
There's a lot of different ways. Again, my book has so many practices and tools that people want, and there's millions of material out there. It's not just my books, but meditation on your chakras. That was the very first thing my teacher told us to do. And every day I worked on clearing my chakras. And there's so many great meditations out there where you can balance and open up your chakras. But that is where our clair senses operate from, those chakras, the 7 main chakras, maybe 8. And really getting those fine-tuned. It's like playing a piano and making sure it's tuned. Okay.
So when you're concentrating on your chakras in the meditation, do you visualize the colors of your chakras?
Yes, it's a rainbow. And
Okay.
so, for instance, your third eye is going to be indigo blue, and it's located here. That's your clairvoyance. And so you might, if you try and close your eyes and you're like, I cannot see the color, it means it's blocked. Or if you close your eyes and say, let me see how open my third eye is, and you'll see an eye staring back at you. It's either shut tightly or wide open, somewhere in between. So you can play around with it. There's different ways, tools. You can use a quartz crystal to help clear it. You can do energy healing. You can imagine I do a hose of gold light and I spray down all my chakras, and it is the color of the rainbow, and starting with violet at the top all the way down to red at the bottom, and they all correspond to different clairs. Okay, so I think, because we don't have time to go into all this, but that would be where I would start.
Okay. So that would be third eye is clairvoyance. Then I'm assuming like the
Throat
throat chakra is
and it's light blue. It's clairaudience.
Clairaudience.
And your ear chakras. There's little ear chakras. I don't know the color to those, but you can clear those. And then, the solar plexus is really going to be, it's yellow. It's going to be your clairsentience. That's where you feel.
Okay. I was going to say heart, but no, it's your.
Well, no, heart, yes. And the two of those for sure. Heart chakra green, solar plexus. The claircognizance is that crown chakra. It's violet, purple, and that's that place of divine knowing, divine guidance. So, they're all important. That root chakra is important because that's grounding. And if you aren't grounded in your body, because the root, the bottom chakra is the same, it's like connected to the crown. And what I always thought is I want to focus on my upper chakras to connect to spirit. But what I was told, and it was so true, your bottom chakras, the lower ones, are just as, if not more important, because if you're not in your body, you're not present. If you're not present, good luck trying to tune into this energy. You can't.
Yeah. That's what I've heard. The further you can ground, the higher you can reach.
Yep. Root to rise.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow. So, well, we're going to come back. I have to tell you something crazy when I come back. So we're going to break. We'll be back on the other side. We're going to continue our talk about the chakras a little bit, and then we're going to go into your divine team. We'll be right back.
OMTimes TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. OMTimes Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, OMTimes offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an OMTimes magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on OMTimes TV and broadcasting it across the extensive OMTimes radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. OMTimes. Open yourself to the possibilities. The story told in Entering the Light Fantastic, Discovering Life After Life Through Orbs, is about Nancy Meyer's spiritual and emotional rising from the devastating ashes of loss caused by the sudden and unexpected passing of her son Robbie. Just like the legend of the reborn phoenix, Nancy's life purpose and focus was transformed. With the help from her son in spirit, Nancy found herself providing proof through orbs that our souls do not die with our bodies. In her second book, Encircled by the Light Fantastic, A Deeper Journey into the Light with Orbs, Nancy continues chronicling her path of gaining spiritual knowledge and expanding acceptance of what is possible, while traveling to many sacred and ancient sites around the world. She shares these experiences with you along with her photographs of remarkable spirit encounters.
When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. Now I'm anything but lonely.
We have this like deep connection, this heart connection.
He just wants to be close to you and part of your life.
Every day with Turtle is a perfect day.
When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer.
I think everything he does shows how much he loves us.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a little bit of a lot of things.
But they're all pure love.
And welcome back. So before we left, I asked, how do we develop our clairs? And you said, sit in meditation. So would you say that just by giving our clairs more attention and becoming more aware, that would strengthen our clairs?
Yes, your intention, energy follows intention. And they're a muscle. And quite honestly, I think the second thing I would recommend is use them, trust them and put it to the test. And then you get validation, and then that builds trust. It releases doubt. And that's how you also develop them.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest thing, especially in the beginning, is to trust and not try to explain things away,
Yes.
rationalize them and trust. I said I'd tell you something really funny. Every show I'll sit with my higher self, and she usually gives a message for the show. And today it was all about color. So I'm going to read that at the end, Rebecca. It was a crazy, funny message, but I'm going, why are you talking about color? Well, now I know. Now I know why she did that. So, yeah. Okay. So one of the things that I learned, and that was so comforting and fascinating for me in the very beginning, was that I had this team rooting for me that I had no clue about, my divine team. So can you talk about what is a divine team?
So we all have what I call team spirit, and it's a group of non-physical beings. It's composed of angels, spirit guides, ascended masters, archangels, departed loved ones, and they all play different roles in your life. And there's a hierarchy of this team. And I'm happy to break it down if you want me to go into it.
I would love to.
Okay. So just know this is a very brief overview. I've done webinars on this alone, so it can get really in depth. But I like to compare it to a school system because we're an earth school, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so our team, think of, at the very top of this pyramid, and we won't go into that, but I have a chart that it does break it down. If anybody's interested, all the resources are on my website. But
okay.
At the very top, you have the archangels, okay? And the archangels reside in the higher heavens. And these are what I like to refer to as like the superintendents of a school system. These are God's MVPs, and they hold the highest rank in the angelic realm. They're the most powerful, most available. They can be with you in a moment's instance just by a prayer. So, Archangel Michael, he's kind of the rock star of all the archangels. Everyone's probably heard of Archangel Michael. And
sure.
so there's 12. There's a lot of archangels. There's 12 common ones. In my second book, Awaken the Spirit Within, I go into all the 12 archangels and their roles and why you would call on them. Okay. Under the archangels, you have the guardian angels. So think of those more like the principal of a school. Okay. We all have one. Some of us have two. They're with us from the day we're born until the day we die. Okay. And their main purpose is they're kind of in the background of our life, like a principal of a school. You don't talk to them directly. Well, you can. They're always there, but they're not stepping in unless you're in a life-threatening situation or you're in a really milestone moment. But they're always there. And these guardian angels, to me, come through as color. So you just said color.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I see a color standing by someone, not a face or descriptive body, it's an angel, guardian angel.
Oh, amazing. Yeah,
Right?
you said principal of the school. So it's like, okay, for me, I never saw the principal unless I was in trouble.
Unless you're in trouble, they step in. But it doesn't, you can have a relationship with your guardian angel and connect every single day, but they honor your free will. So they're going to stay in the background until you call them in, or again, it's necessary and they impress themselves in.
Okay.
Okay. Then under that, you have the angels. And these are, I also like to call them the golden guides. These are more general. They're like the assistant principal. Okay. They're kind of like the freelance angels, where different angels come in for different assignments. So let's say you're house hunting and you need to find the right house. You're like, angels, help me find the perfect home for us, or help us find the perfect nanny for our child. But whatever it is, there's different angels, and angels are simply messengers. Okay. They're helping you to connect to, whatever it is you need. Then
I've asked for parking spaces.
There's parking angels. I call them mine.
Yep.
If it's going to make your life easier, they're going to step in and help.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So then under that, you have the ascended masters. And so just so we're clear, the angels have never lived an earthly life. They're too high a frequency. But then as you get into the ascended masters and below, they've all incarnated on this earth plane at one time, or many, usually thousands of lifetimes. So the ascended masters, these are like the college professors. Okay, that level. They have like their master's degree or PhD.
Yeah.
These are powerful healers, teachers, prophets that walk the earth. They can empathize. They understand the human experience, and it is messy, and there's no judgment. They're there to help us. And this is where you hear Jesus, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Buddha, Ganesh. These are some of those. And they come to you if you're working on a certain life lesson. Okay. So Jesus might be with you for forgiveness. There's all sorts. Okay. So under that, we then have your spirit guides. And these are like the teachers in the classroom. Okay. So they're trained to guide you. And they can be your dead loved ones. Like my grandmother became a spirit guide only 10 years into her time in the spirit world. They have to be responsibly trained. They have to honor your free will. They can't give you too much information at certain times. They have to know what they're doing, right? And so we have many spirit guides that come and go throughout our lifetime. You don't just have one. Just like you have many teachers throughout your K through 12 or college experience, right?
Right.
So that is that. And then under the spirit guides, you have in your team your deceased loved ones. So think of these like your classmates or your school counselor. Okay. Sometimes, again, those deceased loved ones can be a guide, but if they're not playing that role, they're more like your cheerleader or your companions, and they're there to support you. They're there to give you faith and breadcrumbs along your path, getting signs. It's whatever they know you need to help you feel comforted, safe, secure, on the right track. They're going to do that.
Right.
And then go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. Well, tell me what's under that before I ask
under
my question.
Under that, so in my hierarchy of the team spirit, you can have incarnated beings of light. So meaning earth angels. It's kind of like one of your kids is a guide or a loved one from another lifetime, but they've come back. So this is where, we embody animals. This is where animals, spirit guides.
That was my question.
Okay. So spirit animal guides are very real. They can be your pets. They can be animal totems that come to you in meditation and dreams and work with you, but they're a conduit of pure unconditional love. They are here to heal you and comfort you and help you through certain chapters in your life. Okay. And then in that, so the final piece of this is what I call your ground crew in your team spirit. These are living family and friends. These, what I would call your classmates. These are basically people in your soul group. They're your soul family. Okay. And they're here to teach certain lessons and learn certain lessons with you. Okay. So, and you keep reincarnating over and over with those ground crew members.
Wow. So, everybody, that's a lot. That's a big team.
It's a really big team, and it's in this next book, I go do a deep dive into all of that, a breakdown, because I've done webinars, but it's so much to process. But I think the most important thing your listeners need to hear today is that they're not alone. Everybody has a team, everyone.
Yep.
Okay. And you can choose to get to know this team.
So one of my questions was, okay, so before, I was thrust onto this spiritual path through Robbie's passing, I had no idea that I had this team. But were they still helping me?
100%. Yes,
Okay.
they're always there. They're just waiting until we choose to wake up and recognize it. I was 19. I went, 19 years of completely unaware. I always sensed there was more.
Mhm.
But when my awakening happened in my dark night of the soul, and that's where my team came, barreling in saying, you asked through prayer, here we are. And then I got curious like you did when Robbie passed, and you start exploring it, and then it grows and expands.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting because I've had several readings with Rebecca, and if you ever get an opportunity, I highly recommend it. They are literally life-changing. But I'd have a conversation with Robbie through you, and I'd ask him a question, and then he'd tell you, and you'd relay the answer. And every once in a while, I'd ask him a question, and you'd tell me, well, he's looking at his guide, and he said he can't answer that.
Wow.
So he has to depend on his guide, whether that information will be relayed, because there were rules that he had to abide by.
Well, it sounds like Robbie was a junior level guide. He, it takes training.
Mhm.
Am I correct? Was Robbie a guide, or is he just a cheerleader, departed loved one cheerleader?
I believe he has gone up to guide. Yeah.
There you go. So you evolve. Exactly.
Yeah.
And over time, so I'm assuming he did not start out that way and then evolved. And then it's like a doctor with a resident in training, shadowing them to learn. That's that's what he's doing.
Now, one of the surprises, and I'm going to go to my next slide here in a minute, Chris, not yet. You have a great ability to identify the guides and tell us who or what our guides are. And I had a reading from you in the morning, and you said, oh, and you chuckled. You said, you have a leprechaun. You said, he literally wants me to call him Lucky. And I said, okay, and I thought it was really cute, but there you go. So as I do every night, I went into the backyard and I took pictures. And Chris, if you can bring up that third slide. And I think I shared this with you, Rebecca, if you remember.
You did. I do.
And there in the orb was Lucky. And he literally appeared kind of like the Lucky Charms leprechaun. And I've outlined him on the left for you to help you orient your eyes. And he said, yeah, don't laugh at me. I'm here.
That's so amazing.
It really is. Thank you, Chris. I also want to say, if you want to look at a little closer to these pictures that I'm showing, you can see them here at OMTimes Radio, or go to my website, the Orb Connection, and click on the Spheres of Spirit, and all the episodes are there. But to me, I was just flabbergasted. Now, Lucky has appeared, I think, 2 more times. So the reason I'm bringing up this story is because they're not just necessarily angels, loved ones, ascended masters. They can be these elementals or these other beings, right?
Yes, there's all sorts of different levels, and fairies, I kind of group the fairies and angels kind of in that same realm. But there's different realms, but it's the same intention. They're there to support you on your path.
Now, one thing that I was waiting for you to mention as our team was the council. Can you go into that a little?
Sure, of course. I usually don't, only because the Council of Elders, it's at the top. It's, it's right up there in the higher heavens, because the council is it's like your board of directors. Okay. And you meet with them pre-incarnation and post-incarnation.
And who are they again?
The Council of Elders are a team of very wise elders, evolved souls. Okay.
So they have incarnated here at one time?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I go into this in my next book because it's that important, but not on a daily basis, because they help you set up your life plan, the soul contract that you agree to. Okay. So your counsel is going to be there when you pass away and go to the other side and do a life review to play judge and jury. It's almost like being in a courtroom, okay, or being in your therapist's office. It doesn't have to be scary, but they're there as a panel to hold you accountable and to help you look at where you succeeded, where you failed without judgment. We are the ones judging.
Judge ourselves, right?
We are, and they're trying to get us to find forgiveness and self-love and compassion, because again, it's trial. We learn through trial and error, and as long as our intention was we showed up to do our best and we learned, that's what matters. And so they help us say, okay, what do you want to work on in the spirit world? What do you want to reincarnate? And if so, what lessons do we need to set up for you the next go around?
So do they assist or do they delegate in our lives?
They do not delegate. The council is there mainly to assist, to help you stay in accountability. Okay. They're there as these wise, loving teachers, therapists, caregivers, whatever you want to refer to them as.
Okay.
You know how a good therapist asks you all the right questions, but leads you to your own truth, your own answer?
Right. The best teachers. Yeah.
That's what they do.
Okay. So we necessarily wouldn't hear from them as often, say, as our guardian angel.
You can't, like every time I sit down to do automatic writing, I have my counsels called the master crew, and then my main guides are called the master 3. My master crew always checks in with me. Oh. Everyone's different. I've talked to other colleagues who rarely talk to their counsel, but you can access it for sure. And you can do that. There's a lot of ways to do that. You can do it on your own. You can do it through a life between life regression with a trained therapist. You can do it in hypnosis. You can do it in deep meditation. You can do it when you go to sleep at night and travel to the other side. Before you go to bed, say, I want to know my team. Either come to me or help me astral travel to you, whatever's highest and best.
Yeah. And I'm sure people have had dreams like this, where sometimes when I dream, I'm with these amazing beings, but I don't know who they are,
right?
And I'll wake up when I have those kinds of experiences with a new phrase or a new word or a new idea or something like that. Yeah. So I remember one reading you gave me, Rebecca, and you said, oh my gosh, I'm going to go to the council. And that was the only time, that I had ever had a reading with the council. So it was fascinating.
That's so neat. I rarely get to do that. It depends. I meet you where you're at, and you're clearly very evolved and you were ready. So that's exciting. I love doing that.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been quite the journey, as you know. Yes. So I wanted, normally what I'll do, can you tell people how to get a hold of you, what's coming up? You talked briefly about your book. Could you talk about all your books, and then
sure,
maybe if you're going to be teaching or do another webinar?
So yes, my website's RebeccaRosen.com, and through my website is everything you could need, from free content and resources to audio meditations, downloads, and everything we've been talking about. I have 3 books out. The 4th one's coming out March 28th. But these books are different types. The Spirited it's a good 101. If you want to, everything we talked about today.
Yeah.
That's the book. Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
The master class is my next one. It's Awaken the Spirit Within. It's who are you and why are you here? What's your purpose? And helping you to get in alignment with that. My 3rd book is What the Dead Have Taught Me About Living Well. And that's a day in my life. It's, this is all great, but I'm still human. I have to walk this earth plane. So how do I do it and stay in my highest and best self? And so I take readers through how to do it for themselves. And then the book coming out next is What's Your Heaven? And so it's going to be 7 lessons on how to heal your past and live fully now. This book is going to be big. I am so excited about it because it's not just about mediumship. This book is about soul contracts. We just went through a complete death and rebirth of the planet with COVID. Right. We are in changing times. We're moving from 3D to 5D, and people are there. It's kind of that shake up to wake up. We're all kind of like, how do you go back to normal? You can't. We're creating a new normal. So it's like, okay, why am I here? What are my soul lessons? What's my soul contract? And then I'm going to have a free quiz on my website, and you're going to be able to take it and figure out your top 2 to 5 assignments that you're working on, because we're all here to learn different lessons. Okay. And then it gives you it's a map to help you heal all of that, whatever patterns you find yourself stuck in, and then to live your best life, because heaven is here now. You don't have to wait till you die.
Yeah.
You can experience heaven on earth.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, I can't wait for that one. All your books have been amazing, and really, I think what you said, about the progression of your books is perfect for in order to read them. I wanted Chris to bring up that third slide if I could. This was a beautiful pink orb that I had captured, and we talked about our divine team. And so it says, may the love and light of the heavens shine down on you and light the path of your life. That to me is kind of how I picture my divine team is out front with the flashlight, kind of leading the way. Thank you, Chris.
That is such a beautiful orb. Wow.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Yeah. And to me, that pink is love. And I don't get very many pink ones. Before I let you go, I don't normally do this with my guest, but because of what we just talked about, do you mind if I read my channeled message from my guide that I usually share every time? Because I think you'll get a kick out of this.
Yeah, I would love it.
So I channeled this from Leonini. I did it yesterday with the intent that this was for the show, and obviously it was. So here's what she had to say. As a child, the bubblegum machine seemed almost magical. You would put your penny in, turn the knob, and with great excitement, wait for the gumball to drop. When you lifted the little door to get your gum, it was always exciting to see which color awaited. It always seemed to be just the right color at just the right time. Think of us as the container which holds all of the colors, waiting for you to send out your penny or your prayer, if you will. Spirit will then send you just the right color at just the right time. Colors are important to your soul. A color's vibration can help heal you or even realign your energy and your center to help you expand. Be aware of the colors you may be drawn to at any particular time. To connect with your colors during your meditation, imagine a gumball machine, inserting a penny, turning that handle, and then waiting for just the right color to be dispensed. Thank you.
Are you ready for this?
What's that?
Are you ready for this? What I didn't share with you in my book coming out, What's Your Heaven? I have a 3-step program, and I use color. We run colors because colors vibrate at a certain frequency to clear your energy and expand you.
Wow.
And so color is a big part of my new path forward with this work.
I have angel bumps.
I love it for both of us. Thank you.
Crazy. Well, Rebecca, we're at the end of our time. God, it went by so fast. I hope we can do this again one day. And so I want to thank you for joining me. Thank you so much.
Oh, and thank you for honoring the guidance and sharing your work. And it's just so amazing. And for you to be able to put a visual to what I'm doing has been really incredible.
Oh, it's been so much fun. I just love it.
Thank you.
I wish you a happy holiday.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a couple minutes. Wow, that was crazy. When I channeled that message from Leonini, I kind of laughed and I went, why are you talking about gumball machines and color? Now we know, right? Talk about synchronicity and how things always line up. So I'm going to pull a quick card. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Chris. He just put up my last thing. It's in meditation. We are always told to listen, to meditate. It's such a big part of connecting. And so this was mine in the green orb. It said, listen to silence. It has so much to say. And that's by one of my famous Rumi. So, meditation, very, very important. So the card I'm going to pull real quick before I run out of time, it's from my Saints and Angels deck, since we're talking about our divine team. So I'll pull one card with the intent that this is for everybody and will help everybody. So the card that I'm going to pull for you today, pull the top card. Oh, and here it is. It's, let me get that. It says Guardian Angel. And it's the sweetness of knowing your guardian angel. And that couldn't have been a better card either, right? And I've told people when I get blue orbs, a lot of times that's our teachers, and I see a lot of blue with this color. So it's just another affirmation that your guardian angel and your divine team is right with you. I want to wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving. I will see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.